Okay, I'm going full influencer on this one. I'm on my way to London because some of the clothes that I've made are going to be in an art gallery. Yeah.
6 months ago, my wife sent me this link. What I clicked was Hitain Patel in a Spider-Man suit asking for my sewing. I immediately applied, and to my surprise, I got included in the largest collection of objects created, modified, or collected by hobbyists in the UK.
We're going to just skip the 5 hours of train delays then, eh? Aye. It's the morning of the launch. I'm in Croydon. I'm on my way to the press preview. On a side note, I feel like less of a prick doing this in London than I did back home, so bonus.
Arriving at the venue, there wasn't time to take in our surroundings. We were pushed around by cameras, herded into a group, and targets were identified. This is Rani the Witch. I didn't meet Jade the cosplayer till much later.
I was at a convention in London at the Excel Centre, got chased down by one of the team. They actually ran through the convention to Pfizer. Well, they specifically requested the one they saw me in the first time, and then the other one, I guess it was one of the ones I was most proud of. I got back from the convention a little bit early, and this little girl over the road, she wasn't at the convention, just near the hotel, she pointed out to us, Dad, it's a fairy queen. At this point, I'm ready to drop. I would get in the shower, throw my shoes off, never look at them again. But this one child walking up to me just like invigorated me all over again. And I've crouched down, I've said hello, and she has no idea what character I am, but she sees me as a fairy, I am a fairy. And I just says to her, you know, I'll give you a fairy wish, but you can't tell anyone what it is or it won't come true. And when they were walking away, I could hear her like tugging at her dad going, I can't believe I saw a fairy queen and we got a picture. Oh my gosh, and oh, I hope my wish comes true.
Me and Jade nerded out about garments into the wee small hours, but the person I connected with most was fellow collector of plastic, Miranda, and her 2,000 My Little Ponies.
I was scrolling through Instagram on a doom scroll, as I do, and an advert came up for Art Angel. Filled out before we said I've got what I collect, and they said, could they have some ponies? I was like, yeah, of course. Sent over a picture of about 14. They were like, no, we need more. I was like, well, what do you want, 20, 30? Like, can we have them all? I didn't realise how much I had until I saw it there in a different setting. At home, I see it every day, and it's just there. People that come in and have seen it there go, wow, that's a collection, you should be proud. I just want a My Little Pony museum where people could just walk in every day and see them and be happy.
The centrepiece of the exhibition is a short film produced by Hitain, which heavily features the work of nail artist Zahra.
It's my full-time job.
So this isn't a hobby. What are you doing? You're pretending.
This takes hours. I've always been into art, but kind of like being a lazy artist, so like big canvases I just was never gonna finish it. So I was like, I need something small. So the spider is actually made out of this like gel, and it hardens under UV light. And I sculpted the car out of the same thing, and the wheel spins. I think I worked with every medium. But nails is one thing that stuck because it kind of like combines sculpture and texture on a small scale because I'm lazy.
After a quick reset in search of better light, a topic came up that a lot of the contributors struggled with.
I didn't ever promote my stuff online because I didn't know the power of social media until I actually joined 2 months ago. I had social media anxiety. I wouldn't even show my hands for my nails. I was like, you need to get your shit together, it's not that deep. So when I started my business, I actually started in a salon, built my clientele up from there. COVID hit, started from home. When you're a home nail technician, how are you gonna find you? I just started YouTube as well, so.
What's your channel name?
Zahra Nadeem.
All of the contributors balanced their hobby with some sort of social media presence. Unfortunately for us, Daisy, an accomplished Cyanotype printer, is producing a PhD on the craft of content creation.
Part of what I'm trying to argue is that content creation is a craft in itself. When I make this work of art, which is a material item, when I put a video together, that in itself is a separate act of creation, and it exists as a creative object in itself. There are videos on the internet of these items that have way more impact than this object displayed here will probably ever have, and I think there's something really interesting about how it has a life of its own without me. And to be quite honest, this is my special collection. These are objects that I made in that moment, and I'll never sell and I'll never give away because they represent a really important moment in my creative journey. Any kind of hobby or any kind of craft that's it's not isolated, it's usually surrounded by other creative activities. I go to car boot sales on the weekend. I find antique glass negatives. I thought, wow, these are beautiful, but I don't know what to do with them. How do I display them? But then when I suddenly had the idea, oh my gosh, I could print them. For me, what's amazing is that these photos were taken over 100 years ago. I can still engage with them. Whereas the video I make about me printing the photo, who's going to see that in 100 years' time? Because my content is probably just going to disappear into the overall digital archive. And with craft, I think makers are going to make. So it's the same with content. Do we make content because we want visibility, or do we make content because it's the act of making that does something for us? And I think it's the same thing with sewing or knitting or crocheting or doing any other creative pursuit. Doing the thing is as important as the finished object. And that's why I think we have a lot of these things lying around, because they're special to us and they mean something, but making it wasn't necessarily the whole reason for doing it.
The maker who seems to typify this was Bex and her miniature pots.
I only have an Instagram. I don't have a YouTube or TikTok account because I just want to make work. With every collection I make, I try to incorporate something that I want to experiment. They're not like conventional techniques or conventional like materials that I use. Even if they are, I try to use it in a non-recommended way to make something different and experiment and discover. I think it's important to always think out of the box. For example, I look at Oreos or like cakes, and I'll think, oh, maybe I can like try to like create the squishiness in the texture of the porcelain, which kind of plays with your expectation, right? Because you know, porcelain, it goes to it's hard, but it can look gloopy or squishy in the way it's made.
Oh, okay. I'm just back from the day. I am knackered. I've been talking. The amount of talking I've done today is deeply, deeply exhausting. I've met some like really beautiful people. Hopefully by this point you've met some of them and seen what they're about and why they're there. I've seen some incredible objects, like, I mean, literally just the most beautiful craft, the most like indulgent collections. Like, it's just seeing a collection that's really complete, like somebody's really worked at it, is kind of just so beautiful and makes me want to collect, like get back into my collections with a bit of vim and vigor. I found the exhibition to be just like incredibly emotionally affecting, because you can see around every corner there's a thing that somebody has put so much time and effort and dedication into, whether that is collecting objects or hand making these beautiful capes or patchwork, the knitting, the crochet, the furniture, the woodworking, the metal craft, the model making, the painting, the amount of like beautifully painted miniatures that I saw today. Hatem and his work, the car. Like I was walking around everything, I was going, this is really cool, this is really, really cool, this is really, really cool. Then I walked into the room with the car and the blankets, and I was like, this is art. And I have no idea how to pinpoint why it made that transition between like, this is ephemera or museum or some, you know, like collection, or to being like, this is art. But I felt a sense of newness and potential in that space. It's incredible to see the kind of things that like just people do. Not like what I'm doing here with the YouTube channel and with my sewing, where I'm like, you know, craving an audience, craving some sense of like acceptance and encouragement from an audience. Like so much of the work that was done in that room, I felt like it was happening for the purity of doing the work, which is funny because the main topic of conversation with the other contributors today was about socials, about how you stand out, how you engage your audience, how you grow. So maybe that assumption on my part of the noble craftsperson that's like just making stuff for the joy of making stuff is an ideal I'm applying to the work. Ken and his collection is entirely documented online. Daisy has this deep understanding of what social media is and how to apply it. Then you got Zahra, who's like starting out on that journey, taking her first steps into a bigger internet and trying to turn that into a business, and that woman is going to go so far, like seriously get on her stuff. Jade is a bewilderingly good sewist who is also like really aware that she's sewing costume and is like, done is good enough, you know, like there's a huge amount that could be learned from her practice and how she's doing stuff. I forgot My Little Pony name, and I feel really bad about that because actually the person that I had the biggest, most fundamental connection with was her and her approach to collecting, because it's like, I get it. Like once you find a thing that you love and you want to have, it's not even about the having, it's the finding. That connection to a memory that you have, that sense of identity and purpose and person that is held in these little plastic objects, these ponies in her case, or for me, my art toy collection or my Gundams or any number of like objects, they're all talismans to remind myself who I am and like stew in that idea of like what is identity. So yeah, I really enjoyed that room, and specifically the My Little Ponies room, because it was just like, this is how I feel about the things that I feel. You know, I would love to have that cacophony of colour and form. I bet you that room smells exactly like it's supposed to smell. That was invigorating. Loved it. I loved it massively. Still want to watch the film. I'm going to watch the film tonight. Yeah, right, I'll catch you in a bit because I'm probably going to go do another thing. I need a shower and an outfit change.
I returned to the venue in full art opening. I got to watch the film, which is excellent by the way. I spent most of the night talking shop with the cosplayers before eventually giving in to the exhaustion and returned to the hotel, just in time to watch the semi-final of Sewing Bee. Come As You Really Are by Jade Patel will be open until the 20th of October, and the film will travel various venues across the UK in 2025.